Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the memorial service for Robin Cassidy. We are very, very happy that all of you could be here with us this evening. Some of us are, well, many of us are, all of us are in different locations, and all of us have many things that they can share, and we welcome everybody to do so. I just want to let everybody know that we are broadcasting this meeting to Facebook and also recording it so that those who could not be here tonight can hear this. So just a heads up on that. So we welcome all of you to share, but if you do share, you will be put on to the stream. So we welcome you all, as I said, to share and be part of this meeting or this service. I'd like to start just by acknowledging that on as you've already saw on May 26th, Robin passed away. It was a hard couple of weeks for us because Robin was put into the hospital right before our DC trip, and there was a time where I couldn't keep up with what was happening because I was in DC and I had no really way to keep up with it every day, every single day. I didn't have a chance to really ask, and then I came back from DC and we ended up getting you know a text from her the morning of the 15th, a rather incoherent one. Both two people got the text, myself and Marilyn, and there was a text that was sent out, and then Marilyn called her, and she was incoherent. But I will let her share that when it comes to that time. But long story short, there was a time where we couldn't even locate her the week after, and finally we found out where she was, and I want to thank Marie for helping us to get there. Unfortunately, we got there to shocking and sad news, but nonetheless, we got there anyway, and I really, as I said, I can't be more grateful to that. Um, about Robin herself, I just want to share one thing, and then we're going to play actually, we're going to do the video first. We found a video of her that we're going to share, and it's a video that it was made about 8 years ago during the time where the ice bucket challenge was so prevalent. Robin had some comments on that. As many of you know, Robin had ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, also known as a debilitating condition that really takes a lot out of you. And the ice bucket challenge was a big thing at that time, and Robin made some comments about it, and I'd like to share that video with everybody, and then I will share
Join
my
the meeting.
I'll share what I wanted to share on that. So I will go ahead and ask Gina to share that if she can.
My name is Robin, and I have ALS. And I want to say thank you to all the people who brought an awareness of ALS more into the communities and for all the challenges. And I want to let you know that what you feel without 1 second of ice is nothing compared to what ALS does. It robs your nerves and your muscles so that you can't move anything anymore. I had a disability from a fuse light for years. It wasn't until I developed ALS that I truly lost my independence. I can no longer, I have to have somebody to wipe my nose. I have to have somebody to move my feet, to cut up my food, to feed me. I have to have this ventilator that's on my lap for breathing. I lost my independence for driving, for doing anything. And only 7% of the money for every $100 that's donated for ALS, $7 goes for research. More money needs to go for research. 51% goes for salaries. I have to thank the ALS Foundation for getting a sliding board so I can move from my bed to my chair because I couldn't get anybody else to cover it. But ALS robs you of your dignity, of your independence, of your motor skills, of everything that you have. What people need to be aware of it. I say donate to the Ride for Life. Don't just think of the ice bucket challenge as a game. Think of the people that can't move, that have their brain freezes, total body freeze, each and every day. and be thankful for every breath you can take on your own and all the moments that you make. And I thank you for listening to this. Thank you.
What an amazing woman, really. I listened to that video and I thought to myself, goodness, she sounds so different. And then I looked at the year that it was published and I said, oh, no wonder why. She could talk then. Toward the end, she was still able to speak, but it was much more difficult for her to do so. But I just want to share my thoughts on Robin. I got to know Robin over the last 3 years. And when I met Robin, I the first thought I had was, wow, I can't believe she's doing so many things. She and they told me about how what she used to do and all the things that she was doing and how she used to come onto our support group and how she used to be part of that and how she really used to be just such a great person to talk to. She never failed to have something to say. She always had something to say. And then Marilyn got her back involved with with Adapt and with Silo with the support group. And I ever since she came on, she always felt so happy. She always had some kind of purpose. She felt like she always had something that she was doing that was, filling her day, as it were, because before then she really didn't have much. She would come to certain things before the pandemic in person, but, during the pandemic she didn't really have too much going on. So I think that was really a great thing. And one of the things I got to know over the last couple of years is she was a great advocate for other people. She really did advocate for other people, and she didn't stop until she got what she wanted. There were several things that she always was famous for. Number one, she was always famous for being generous. I remember we were doing one of our actions about a year and so ago, maybe a little bit more than a year now, and she decided to call a pizza place in the area. She didn't stop until she found a pizza place. We had to find a pizza place for her to call and order a pizza. And she called. Now, she was on a three-way call. So everybody was listening to her order the pizza. And I kept thinking, oh my goodness, she's going to give her credit card number. So I had Robin, call back. You're going to give your credit card. She had to do it, but she insisted she wanted to do this, and she did what she needed to do, and I'm sure the people on the ground thought that pizza was delicious. But another example of advocating for herself came about a year ago. We had our first in-person support group in quite some time, and somebody had to go to the hospital. Somebody had an incident where they lost consciousness. They needed to go to the hospital. So our CEO comes in and he says, I just want to let everybody know that this person had to go to the hospital. He explained what happened. And he told everybody where they were taking her. Well, that was a mistake because Robin didn't waste a second. Those of you who know what Long Island Community Hospital was formerly Brookhaven Hospital. He said Brookhaven Hospital, but it's actually called Long Island Community Hospital now. And the first words out of Robin were, they kill people in that hospital! They kill people in that hospital! They do not kill people in that hospital. That just seems to be the reputation that hospital has. Now, some people know they come out of there alive, but I will never forget that because Robin really, honestly, Robin was going to was going to say her piece and nobody was going to stop her. And that was huge for her. She had to, she had to say what she needed to say, and that was that. But I really just, in short of that, she advocated for herself slightly, but more for others. She was more concerned about other people than she was about herself, and I think that was a huge thing for her. She was not selfish; she was selfless, and she was just the example of, just because you have a disability doesn't mean you can't do things. All the times they told her that she had to go into a nursing home, she said, oh no, I'm not. I'm just going to be here and doing what I need to do. So I really give her a lot of credit for that. So I'm going to turn this over to the next person who wanted to speak, and I know this person has known her for a lot longer than I have. We won't say how long, but she's got a lot more to say, and that's Marilyn Tusi.
Thank you, Brandon. And I do have a lot to say. I thought I knew Robin over 20 years, but Brandon said it was more like close to 30 years. We met at a few advocacy things. One that always sticks out in my mind was in the early 90s when we were advocating for paratransit to come into Suffolk County. And she was on a scooter, and can't remember if she had a little service dog then or not. Knowing Robin, she probably did. But yeah, we were all advocating, and every time I went someplace and I saw her, we always wound up talking. And she did volunteer at Silo, and then they got a grant and she became the New York advocate. And on that grant, she was sent to Washington, D.C. She was sent to Albany to do advocating. She was a great advocate, and she actually bought the Silo van because she needed it because she was on a scooter. And then some years later, she went into a wheelchair. I remember one of the things that was funny is when we were doing the hospital surveys here in Suffolk County, and we were leaving a hospital, myself and my director and her, we were the last people to leave, and the lift on the van stuck. So she said, Marilyn, you got to get in the van, go on the lift and jump on it. So I said to my director, hold my guide dog. I got to go into the van and jump on the lift. So I went in there and I started jumping up and down. Of course, people are in this parking lot in the hospital looking like, why is the blind woman jumping on a van? And it was the only way to release it so it would go down because it used to get stuck. So she thanked me, and then we always had to wait for her to get up on the van and hope that it didn't stop in the middle, because sometimes it did stop in the middle and we'd have to call the police, or I forget who else, fire department maybe. But anyway, she was able to drive the van, and she had a heart of gold. She would help anybody and do anything for anyone. If you needed a ride and you said, I have to go to the doctor, or I have to go to this agency, she'd say, all right, what time do you have to be there? And I'll come and pick you up. She didn't hesitate to offer people rides. And she used to get angry when somebody did offer people with disabilities a ride, because she said when she wasn't able to drive anymore, she said, now I know what it's like. She said, and it's not a good feeling when people can help and don't offer you a ride. Robin was very good, like Brandon said, advocating for other people and helping them. She did a lot for many, many people. But when it came to her advocating for herself, she couldn't do it. I remember a couple of stories where she called me up. She was in the hospital, and Stony Brook Hospital, they couldn't find her wheelchair. And she said to me, I need you to advocate for me. And I said, but you can advocate for yourself. She said, no, I can't. I need an advocate, and you're it. So, of course, I called up the hospital and we tried to track down where the wheelchair was. And the few times it did happen, she always got it back. They always seemed to find it. And I told Robin, put your name on this wheelchair, put something in, engrave it in. So, you know, when they know that you're in there, that's your wheelchair. And when they admit you, they bring it up with you. So, you know, those are things that Robin did. Robin was also an animal lover. She had many feral cats that she had her aides feed when she couldn't go out anymore. She also had dogs. When her dog passed away, it was very heartbreaking. She had a couple of cats that passed away. And when she passed away, her friend Cindy was there in her yard and told us that the one comfort she had when she was dying was that her cats were like on top of her. And that was something Robin would have wanted, was to be surrounded by her cats. Um, Robin was a mother, a grandmother, a sister, and a friend to many. There's so many stories that I could say about her, but I want to give people a chance also to speak about her. So I'm going to pass that back to Brandon.
Thank you, Marilyn. And yes, it has been a little under 30 years. So just to say that, I wasn't going to say it, but you said it first. Um, I'd like to now pass over to Gina Barbara, who has a few things to say.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. So Marilyn pretty much covered a couple of the things that I was going to say, but generally speaking, only knowing Robin from the Medicaid group of Downstate New York Adopt, and slowly she started coming to the legislative action working groups. And as she was starting to get a little bit more fatigued and sicker, she would tell me, well, I really want to come, but it's kind of late. So it's not that I don't want to be there. It's just I can't do it. I said to her, don't worry about it. When you can get on, you can get on. So she said, okay. But I always remember her calling me before the Medicaid meetings, telling me, well, they forgot to give me the phone number again. So can you give it to me so I can log on so I don't miss this meeting? I said, yeah, sure. So Robin told me a couple of stories of like historical things that she did over time. Most importantly, I think, is the opportunity for her to be present during the signing of the ADA. How cool is that? A couple other things that Robin told me, she was often frustrated, but when you seen her on meetings, you never would realize that she's frustrated at all. You never saw any kind of frustration or anger from Robin. You just saw uh like a guiding, helping hands, and we're gonna miss her. So thank you. Back to you, Brendan.
Thank you, Gina. Is there anybody else that is not scheduled to speak that would like to share? Because I know many people have things that they'd like to share about Robin. I mean, some of us could go on and on and on. Marie, go ahead.
I almost started talking before I unmuted. Um, I did not know Robin very well, but that story about her getting that pizza that day just totally triggered my memory. What a sweetheart. That was so welcome to have that at the end of our protest. We were definitely wiped out and hungry and everything. And I was the one that went down to pick it up. And it was just such an adventure. And also definitely, part of the thing for me with ADAPT has always been to support folks that needed support in order to be able to advocate. And so giving Brandon and Marilyn a ride to go see her after she got out of the hospital that time, and then the heartbreaking trip where we thought we were going to see her in hospice and she had already passed. That's just such a part of my heart now, of course. All of these things sustain us when we're trying to understand or deal with the negativity in the world today. And she's one of the people that is there supporting us from wherever she is to keep on fighting. The fact that she was part of ADAPT way back and was there for the signing of the ADA just is so sweet. And when Marilyn has told me stories of those times, back when Silo was the self-initiated
Living options.
living options under June Roberts, so wonderful to hear those old stories. Even though things don't always work out, people's hearts and spirits in the realm of self-advocacy and community advocacy for ourselves and each other, it's just such a value in our lives. It's what makes life worth living. So I'm just so delighted to have had even as much contact and experience with Robin as I had, and with this whole community. Free our people.
Thank you, Marie. Anyone else?
Brandon,
Yeah,
this is
I-
Tina.
Go ahead, Tina.
I'm sorry, guys. I got logged in late. I will tell you a story about Robin, and especially now that Marie was talking about ADAPT. Robin and I went to Washington, D.C. to do the National ADAPT Action. And we stayed at a different hotel than the main part because we registered late. And she stayed for one of the meetings that had to do with HUD housing. Now, Robin and I, we worked together. In fact, Robin and I worked in the office when it was in Harper because we had, what do you call those offices? Another one. We had two offices.
A satellite office.
Thank you, Brandon. I couldn't think of that. She sat in that meeting and I had left the hotel. I get a phone call from the executive director from Albany saying that Robin was out of oxygen because she was so interested in this meeting. She forgot she was running out of oxygen. So I had to have the hotel people bring into her room so I can get oxygen and run down to where she was to hook her up. But we used to have a ball at the ADAPT Action. She was always very active.
Leave
And
it to
then also-
Robin.
Yeah, she was the first original also, I think, and Marilyn, please correct me, New York State advocate for Open Doors when they started that program.
Wow.
Open Doors and NHTD, because she was able to go into the nursing homes to get them to to start the program to get out of the nursing homes. And we used to go to the meetings in Albany, Robin and I. And I worked for Silo 26, 27 years. That's how long I knew Robin, as she was the volunteer and then she was an employee. Go ahead, Brandon. That's all I have to say.
You
But she
covered
will
it
be-
all, Tina. Thank you very much.
But she will be missed.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. Somebody else was going to say they wanted to share.
That would be me.
That would be you. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, I've really known Robin, couldn't get that word out, probably a little over 2 years. I sort of met her when we started doing the phone support group during the pandemic, and got to fall in love with that lady. Her concerns about everybody except herself. We used to be on the calls, and I used to bite my tongue many, many times at health issues that she would talk about. And I do remember when my first guide dog got sick, and I had mentioned it on the line. She was extremely upset and concerned. And then when I had to announce I put her down, she was devastated. And then when we went in person, I have the new one, and she was there. That was when I actually met her face to face. And she knew I was there, was like pretty much across from her. And she came over and just was like so thrilled to finally meet Chance. I didn't even have a chance to get his harness off of him so she can love on him. So I was like, you know what? She was just going to town on him. So, I let her, it was just for that, few minutes or so. But her concern was for everybody except for herself. And when she wanted the most important thing that they wanted to do for her, it was too late. And that's the sad part, because if she would have listened, a while ago, maybe we would still have her here and we would hear her. We wouldn't have to be doing this memorial for her. But that's what happens. You advocate and you stand up for other people and you put yourself in the back, and you just forget, that there's vital, important things to do. But her concern was for everybody, her love for her animals. We know that, how that went. And the last time, and then I'll end, the last time I actually got to speak to her, I do believe she was in the hospital. She was on before me, and I had came on, and as soon as she heard me, right away, I was waiting to hear your voice because I had surgery and she wanted to know how the surgery went, how I was doing, not how she was doing. I want to say she was still in the hospital. I could be mistaken, but I couldn't even get a chance to ask how she was doing. So I was thankful I did get to speak to her, but, you know, not knowing it would be the last time. But I feel she's up there. You know, she's a robin flying in the air, and she's just going to watch over all of us and keep us all safe. And we're all just going to remember her in our own special ways.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cheryl. That was very great. Thank you for sharing that. I believe that she's probably still in heaven advocating for something, whatever they advocate for up there.
Absolutely. That is for sure.
Whatever they advocate for up there, I don't know, whatever they do. Anybody else have anything to share?
Well, obviously it's humanity.
Oh, is that it? Is that what they advocate for up there? Humanity? Okay.
And my
Anybody?
husband always used to say, who sits at the head of the table? Who's the newcomer? Gets to, you know, do all the speaking and bossing around and all that. So
Exactly.
that was his motto. So
Yeah. All right, I've got Chris and Simone. So, Chris, go ahead.
I'm going to try very hard to not echo what everyone's saying, but I probably will. I just want to say that over probably a little over a year that I had, that it's been since I met Robin, she never missed when she could be there, any of the meetings that we were doing here with ADAPT and some of the other stuff that I was running. I remember every single time I would call her, she would always ask how I was doing or how things were going, and she, like everyone has said so many times here, had, you know, always cared about anyone. It didn't matter who we were, how long she had known us. She always had that very caring personality, and that's something I will definitely miss about it. She was truly devoted to coming to all of these meetings. I don't think there was really any meetings she missed. And even towards the end, she was still she would still come to meetings in the middle of the hospital. Like I said, she had that extremely devoting and caring personality. If you had a birthday or something like that, she always had somewhere all of that stuff written down. I think she always said, I remember her saying she had like papers all over the place on the bed there with all the meeting IDs and stuff written down. And I think everybody's phone numbers and stuff like that. But and yes, I do fondly remember that action when she was on the three-way call with that pizza place. I will never forget that. Actually,
She would have given her credit card over the Zoom and Facebook if I didn't mute her.
Exactly. So, but she was an incredible advocate, and she always advocated for everyone else before her, and she will definitely be missed. It was a great pleasure to get to know her, to be able to, be a part of her life for a little over a year. Always, sometimes having to remind her, hey, Medicaid's at 11:11, or this group is this at this time. But she was always there. She was always asking questions, always wanting to know more. Always would take the time to be part of these meetings. And as all of you know, for a very long time, she was doing all of that by phone. So towards the end, obviously, she finally got a cell phone, and that's one thing. She was so proud of getting that phone too. I remember how proud of herself she was to be able to get that, because she was, as she put it, was finally able to enter the 21st century, as it were. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Chris. Simone.
Hi. So I just I think Chris kind of said, stole everything I kind of wanted to say. But so I only had the pleasure of knowing Robin a couple of years, via the Medicaid group at ADAPT. But it's been so amazing being here tonight and hearing about just her legacy of advocacy and activism in this community. I mean, there's so much that, she was so modest and humble in that respect that there's a lot that I'm just learning about tonight for being at the signing of the ADA and, just her 30 years of working with Marilyn, Net Silo and all of that. So it's just really amazing to hear just what a wonderful life she's had. And she was just such an honor to have her at our Medicaid group for so many years. And I think one thing I wanted to reiterate that everyone's kind of been saying tonight, but just how selfless she was and how interested she was in everyone else. Like I remember she was always, I remember, I think when she had gotten her phone where we finally saw her on camera and, she was in the hospital. We're like, Robin, it's okay. It's okay to take, a day off for self-care, it's just her dedication to adapt and to everyone, to all of us. Was just amazing and such a great example for all of us. I hope we can really carry on that legacy. And just one kind of cute story I was thinking about. It was actually that same time that a lot of you were in DC for that action last year. So not this past Adapt Action, the year before. But we were all on Zoom watching you guys having that delicious pizza in DC. And I guess I hadn't had my camera on in a while, or maybe Robin was on Zoom where she could see me. I guess she hadn't seen me before. And just so how attuned she was to everyone else, she looks at me, she goes, Smell, like, I didn't know you had a eye. And I was like, oh, I guess she had never seen me. I think she was on camera for the first time. She's like, yeah, my mom had a eye. And I was like, I had no idea. So, Robin was so focused on everyone else and her advocacy that, I wish we got to know her a little bit better and just wanted to show how much she was interested in everyone else and cared. So we'll miss her a lot at Downstate New York Adapt. And, I know she's watching over us and proud, and I hope we can carry on her legacy too.
Thank you, Simone. Definitely. Marie.
Simone, I want to remind you, I think you and Nina and a few other people were at the action with us where she bought the pizza for us in New York City. And it just took me so long to get down to that pizza place.
I wasn't there, but Nina was definitely there.
I was on.
Oh, okay. I thought I remembered that. Well, so Nina had some other friends there, I guess.
Someone else with OI was there. I think Jess was probably there.
That was the action where Nina's.
That's who it was.
That was the action where Nina's slogan came from.
Oh yes, that's right.
What slogan?
It's not appropriate to repeat on this Zoom.
Oh, come on.
No, it's not. No.
All right. You'll have to tell me sometime. But at any rate, I had thought you were with us, Simone, but I bet it was Jess. That was
Nina, was it Jess? I see you reacting there.
Yeah, it was Jess. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Nina.
Yeah.
That was back
So you
when I
met
didn't
Jessie.
really know who was who among Nina's friends, but I was always so grateful that you brought so many folks with you.
Anybody else want to show? Well, I just want to say too. The first time I went to Albany back in March, she texts me and she goes, "Call me right away. I want to know everything about your trip, and I mean everything." Those were her exact words. I want to know everything, and I mean everything. I had to give her a full story about how it was, how it went, and how everything and
how fun and hard work.
Yes, but I didn't say that. I didn't even say that to her. But I will say. She was so happy. Her face, I could tell her face was like so lit up because she was so happy, and I wasn't even with her. I could tell it made her day to hear how somebody else was doing advocating in Albany. I mean, I told her how many legislators we met with, how many. She wanted every little detail from breakfast in the morning to, everything. She wanted every little detail. And I will tell you, it made her so happy to hear all those details. And I will say another thing about her, she died fighting, because when she was incoherent, and Marilyn can back me up on this, she told Marilyn she needed to go up to Albany.
Yes, she did.
And Albany will be waiting for her, and Albany will probably be saying, "Oh my goodness, where is Robin?" Said no one ever. But I think that experience for me to tell her about everything. She didn't just want one little thing. She wanted every little detail of that trip. She wanted to know how it went. She wanted to know what we did, and I gave it to her, and she was so happy. And every time she was able to get out of her house and come to Silo, even just something else to do was great for her. Coming to the advocacy conference, anywhere she could go, she was always positive, no matter what situation she was going through. And that ventilator.
Oh, don't start with that ventilator, Brandon.
Oh, yeah, that. Mm.
That ventilator.
Do you know what she did to me?
What did she do?
I was gonna kill her. I would have killed her that day. We were coming home from DC. So we were on the subway, we're on the platform, the train pulls up to come home to get to for the LIE. She smacked into the door of the train and the ventilator popped off her wheelchair into the tracks.
Oh.
So she ended up going home and I stayed there until somebody had to come and get that ventilator. So I can go home with it.
Oh my God.
I was gonna kill her.
Oh my God.
She's lucky she lived that long because I was gonna kill her. Oh my God. I stood on that platform all night. And then MTA finally came with these big looking scissors made out of wood to get, and just they got this ventilator off the tracks.
My God, that's funny.
I was gonna kill her.
That's
I didn't
bad.
kill her in DC.
I love you, Tina.
I didn't kill her when she ran out of oxygen because of a meeting. I didn't kill her then. I ran to the bar. I ran to the bar. I had a ramp. But that night on the train track, it was like, oh no, this is like, and then she, oh, no big deal. I goes, what do you mean no big deal? I was a neurotic. I was afraid that she couldn't breathe. Oh, no big deal. She took it very nonchalant. And
She's like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. And
that's her.
Like that one crazy. It's like, I'm worried that she couldn't breathe.
My God.
Oh my God. It's like, but did you all know that Robin was a computer programmer at the very beginning of computers?
Yes, I only found that out later.
Yeah. She was one of the original people who wrote all the codes.
My goodness. Told you she was a very smart woman, and for those who really
very, very smart.
And for those of for those of us who really didn't get to know her all that well, all this knowledge of her is great. I just want to share this because this is the noise I found this. This is the noise we had to hear on either the support group, I found the actual model and make of the ventilator, and I was able to pull a sound clip of it. But this is the noise that we all had to hear, either in person or otherwise, when that ventilator would tell her something. And all we heard was this. Did everybody hear that?
I'm the one who became the neurotic because I was so afraid for her.
Yeah. And I tell you, we always used to know, oh, Robin's here because the ventilator made noise.
Yes.
We always knew she was there. Always. I mean, even before she spoke, she was walking through the door, rolling through the door and it's like, okay, Robin. Hello, Robin. So that was that. Anybody else want to share anything that did not get to share?
I want to say something. The one thing that I was happy about was I was able to bring her back to Silo and reconnect her with ADAPT because it opened up a whole new world for her again. She got to talk to other people because her socialization was very bad being stuck in a house. She couldn't always get out. There were problems with her Hoyer lift. There were times when aides didn't show up to take care of her and she was left alone for hours. I would call her in the morning and she'd say, nobody is here and I need food. And she needed somebody to feed her. And I used to tell her, I said, I'm going to check on you more and more now because, years ago I didn't have to. But I was just glad that I was able to give her some socialization the last few years because it really did make her happy. And a lot of people, that was on the support group at Silo would call her. And then she met a few of you who also would call her from ADAPT. And it meant a lot to her having other people to talk to and hear what their day is like because her day was very boring, laying in a bed all day.
Yeah, it's definitely boring.
Can I just add something to that? I just want to add something. What I wanted to, I agree with Marilyn. Listening to all new people that would come on the Silo call, that she would meet, and then she would take an interest the following week. If they had mentioned about something in the course of their day. And Robin, just the following Wednesday, and Robin was on, and Robin would address that issue. So to me, I think in the short period of time I've known her, I feel like I've known her so much longer because I've got to listen to her, her highs, her lows, her happy, her sad. A lot of trouble being a aide myself one time that she was having that broke my heart tremendously. So I think all of us have so many memories of her in maybe all the same way, which it sounds like, but in our hearts, all in a different way.
Absolutely.
And she's touched many, many people, and I'm sure there's people out there that don't even realize it. So
And
we were
she was
thankful.
a great inspiration for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
So,
Brian.
Yeah. Thank
so
you, Brian.
you say thank you, for what God put in our place at that time, for each one of us to get to know her in our own way. And I'm very honored that I did get to meet her, when I did. So she's always going to be remembered for everything that she's done, the lives she's touched, and the memories that she leaves behind is all positive. So that's the way I want to go. Positive memories of myself. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that, definitely.
And thank
Athena's
you,
hand is...
Marilyn, for getting her back involved with everything. We certainly, all of us benefited from it.
Absolutely.
And I think Brandon was going to say Athena has her hand.
Yes. Athena, go ahead. Is she muted?
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I wasn't like Brandon said, I wasn't planning on sharing, but something that Brandon said reminded me of a little story I had when Brandon was talking about how Robin was about to give out her credit card number on the Zoom. I remember because a few months ago, Robin called my work while I was working, and she said, "There's a problem. I'm trying to make a donation to CD Pennies. CD Pennies is where I work, the Consumer Directed Personal Assistance Association of New York State." And I transferred her to my supervisor, and my supervisor was so happy to get everything working. She took care of it right away. But Robin took that time to call. I know me, for example, for myself, if I'm trying to donate to something, I always hesitate, or if something's not working, I give up. But she didn't. She wanted to work really hard to make sure that donation went through. And the other thing I was going to say was, I hesitate to bring this up because it's a little bit sad, but it's mostly happy. It's about 6 months ago, the first time Robin went into the hospital. Her phone number was given out so that whoever wanted to call her from DNY Adapt to give her a call, and I was very concerned, so I called, and she, again, I mean, as everybody's been saying, she wanted to know what was going on in Adapt, how everything was going. But I remember she told me, because it was Thanksgiving, and she was saying how she didn't get to have her Thanksgiving because her PCA, her attendant, had come to work late. And when Robin had to go to the hospital, her attendant ended up leaving the refrigerator door open, so everything had to get thrown out. And I remember telling her that she would have to have Thanksgiving when she got home, or she should have the turkey on Christmas, so that she could have her Thanksgiving. And I think that helped her. And that was the last time I spoke to her. So I wish we'd had more time, because just like Simone said, I didn't know, so many of these stories and information that I'm learning right now. So Robin will definitely be missed in the Medicaid group. Like Simone said, she never missed one of our meetings, and it was so good to be able to see her on Zoom in the last few months. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Athena. Very much appreciated.
Well,
There are still plenty of people on who have not yet shared. If anybody would like to share anything, please feel free. Just raise your hand and definitely, or if you're on the phone, just call out and say you want to share, and you're more than welcome to share. I know people have plenty of things to share, but don't feel you have to. There's plenty of things that people can say, and plenty of ways for people to say sometimes the same thing. So,
This is Jada.
hi Jada, go ahead.
Okay. I met Robin through support group, and she finally called me when she heard about my cat passed away. So then I never knew she was a cat person. She loved cats. Tried to come for me. And she told me about her cat that passed away. And she said, I buried my cat in the backyard and some in the cemetery. I said, cemetery? How you do that? She said, one night, her two cats passed. She and her aide go to the cemetery in the dark, in the flashlight, it did a hole in the cemetery. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, I didn't do that. She made me laugh. Oh my goodness. She tried to offer me her cat. And I said, no, thank you. I have one more cat left. And then she talked about her dog. Now, okay, maybe I could help you find the dog you want. They have to be little lap dogs. I said, why is that? And I never knew little lap dog that pulled her in the wheelchair. Wow.
Oh, yeah,
She
she
called
worked
me
with
one,
me with
yeah.
that one.
Why? I never knew. So she have a dog, but the dog died a couple of months ago. I'm so sorry. So we talked more, and then so happy to hear about my life, and I hear to tell me her life. We talk about food, how much she miss her food that she could not eat anymore. So taught me about her godson, and her godson came over to my house to help me tear down my daughter's big giant Timberleaf that you jump up and down in the backyard. So he came and took it down for me. I said, Robbie, I will pay your godson. You can't do that for free. So Robbie said, oh, it's the malice. I said, yeah, he worked hard because I see he have missing finger. He have two fingers and one other hand same thing. I said, what happened? Well, when he was young, he played with fireworks. That's what happened. Fireworks, boom. Oh my goodness. So he's a very nice guy. Now he's out in Pennsylvania. I'm sure he's the one who took the dog. But he really wants that puppy. I'm glad he have a good home. And I'm not sure about the cat now. So Robin is a good friend with me. We talk all the time on the phone about the TV series. Told me what happened if I missed the show or she missed the show while she's in the hospital. I tell her about it too. We enjoyed the 90 Days show on Sunday, and on the Wednesday, she liked the show on Lifetime, Married at First Sight. Then for the past 3 years, we've been talking. So now, I talked to her 3 weeks ago before she passed. Sound good. She said, I'm tired. She just came back from the hospital. It's good to be home. She missed her cat and her puppy. And later I find out from Marilyn that she passed. I was so sad. Pay for her so I fee to do more for her. But we all couldn't because we don't have a car and hard to get the gas bus to get there on time or figure her. So you have to book a bus in advance. But you cannot know how she is being every day in her bed and her age. But at the end, I guess she went up there to helping people. I surely miss her.
Thank you, Jada, for sharing. Very much
Okay.
appreciated. Anyone else want to
Okay.
share anything? Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. I know that. Go ahead, Athena. You're muted.
I was muted. I was just thinking that I left out something. Jada reminded me that one time Robin was saying how one time I think we were on a Medicaid meeting and Robin was saying how much she loved to cook and how she used to when she could get out of bed she used to always used to cook and have parties and invite people over. And when she passed away on Memorial Day weekend, I was thinking about what kind of food she and her PCA, her attendant, would have been cooking for Memorial Day. That was what I left out. Thank you, Brandon.
Yes.
Thank you, Athena. Anyone else? Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. For those who missed the service, we will be sending the video out to everybody. We will be sending it out to those who were here also for circulation too. Please feel free to circulate it how and where you please. If we have an email address for you, which you provided on registration, we will be sending you an email containing the YouTube link. And for those who didn't get a chance to see it, it was also put on Facebook as well. So please feel free to circulate it to anyone you feel who might benefit from watching it. And also people can feel free to share any more comments that they may have to us at dnyadapt@gmail.com. We might think about putting something on her guest book, on her obituary, because there is an obituary up, and it does have a guest book attached to it where people can send some commentary and some other things. So we would like to think about, as an organization, doing that sooner rather than later. So I might be sending something out tomorrow morning with just thoughts of what people think about that. Marie has her hand up.
You're muted, Marie.
Of course. Thank you, Nina. I just want to encourage folks to go ahead and put in individual remembrances of her, like we did this evening, because to balance off what seems like some estrangement from her family members, we're her family too, and we can put that out there. In addition to, of course, us doing one from DNY Adapt. But thanks.
Thank you, Marie. So on behalf of all of us at Downstate New York Adapt and everyone who was proud enough to consider Robin friends and, most importantly, her second family, we sincerely want to thank you all for joining us, and we wish you all a wonderful evening, and hopefully you will join us for future events in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Take
Brenda.
care.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
This
you.
was great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Night.
Brandon.